Welcome back, everyone. Disney and Pixar never cease to amaze with their innovative animation, and their latest film, Elemental, is no exception.
It's the classic opposites attract love story imagined in a world where the elements are alive. Take a look.
So you've never left Firetown?
Sorry, buddy. Elements don't mix.
Hey!
Plus, my dad would boil you alive.
Why does anyone get to tell you what you can do in your life?
We can't wait for it to hit theaters this summer. But in the meantime, we are thrilled and delighted to be joined by the film's director, Peter Sohn. Welcome to
Thank you.
Peter, we're so excited to have you here, and we're excited for you. This is
Thank you.
Pixar's first rom-com movie, and it tells the story of a fire character named Ember.
Yep.
And she falls for a water character named Wade. And I understand that this story was actually inspired by your marriage, and in particular, a dying wish that came from your grandmother. Can you tell us about that story?
Well, before we go there, because like the dying wish is the thing I broke, because when I was growing up, my parents were very much like marry Korean, and my grandmother's dying words were like marry Korean, and like I had fallen in love with someone that wasn't, and I was just like, oh my gosh, you know, but it led to a lot of sort of culture clash stuff that we try to, you know, put into the movie. At the time, it wasn't funny, but then now later, it's like, oh, that's hilarious.
fire and water.
Yeah, exactly.
So great.
Oh my God. Oh, sorry, it's me. I'm so excited. I got a question next.
I'm sorry, Grandma, for making the wish. I'm so sorry.
But there's some other realities that come through. Even in the trailer, we see this scene where Wade's having some hot, spicy food with Ember and her dad. And is it true you actually doodled water characters eating spicy food when your family met your in-laws for the first time?
Yeah, well, it wasn't that I was drawing at that time. Like, my in-laws, they're from California. They grew up in Santa Barbara, and they're half Italian, half German. So they really never had kimchi or spicy Korean food. And you know, before our wedding, my father brought this gigantic Korean restaurant to them, and I remember my in-laws having that spicy food for the first time, and the reactions were so amazing. I love my in-laws. I'm just saying that. But then from there, like when I went to Pixar, I was just like drawing these ideas of like, oh yeah, what would happen if like a water character ate like really spicy fire food? And so we're like, what could spicy fire food be? And so they eat hot coals. And so one of the water characters, the father pushes like, here, try this. And he tries these hot coals and he boils up and blows up and everything. Like, that's not what happened with my in-laws, but it was close. It was close.
Close. Inspiration.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've established that the running theme is that some of the story is inspired by your personal life and including your family and your parents. So can you tell us more about how you wanted to pay tribute to your parents with this film?
Oh my gosh, where did you get those? Oh my gosh.
You posted them on Instagram.
Okay, of course, that's what it is. Yeah, one of the first things I had done, I was on a radio show promoting the first movie I worked on, and I told them that I was born in the Bronx, and then the next day, the Bronx literally called. And they're like, hi, we're from the Bronx. We want to celebrate artists in our community. And I'm like, I was only there till I was 8, so I can't say that I'm from there. But I went to this thing, and I went up on stage, and I brought my parents. And when I got up on the stage, I saw this, looking at the crowd, I saw this wonderfully diverse group of people and 4 Asian faces. My mom, my dad, and my brother and his wife. And my mom had mascara, looked like car tracks that had driven all over the place. And then once I saw that, and my father was holding in his emotion, I had a speech. I didn't give the speech. I don't remember everything that I said, but I remember thanking them. I remember saying like, thank you, Mom and Dad, for all the sacrifice that you gave for my brother and I to have a life. And like, I got emotional up there, and someone in the background's like, you better thank your parents. And, but I came back with this, came back to Pixar, and they were like, what movie do you want to do? And I had these other ideas, and then I left, and they asked, wait, what happened in New York? And I told them the story, and they're like, Peter, that's the movie you have to do. You have to, and because they all felt this thing, but like, it's been this tribute, and it's been this like 7-year project.
It's also really, really clever and interesting that you use like the table of elements, right? So like, what was it about the periodic table that really like excited you and aligned with this story of your family?
Yeah, growing up in New York, I was terrible in science, but then when I saw this periodic table, all I saw was like apartment complexes. I just saw like, oh yeah, all these people are in these little rooms and everything, and then like copper lives next to helium, but they're gassy, so don't, whatever it was. And so that concept started to meld with you know, growing up in a diverse place. And like Toronto, like we did so much research and love in Toronto because the multicultural thing of like people keeping their cultures and living together. And so there was a lot of that inspiration that connected to the world and life that I thought would be great to show, you know.
Well, speaking of that, you know, in Chinese culture, in Chinese astrology, there are actually 5 elements.
Yeah.
So it's wood, fire, earth, air, metal.
Right.
Was that 5?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so everyone has an element according to their birth sign and year. So for example, you two are wood.
Oh, right on.
I'm water.
Yeah.
What are you and what do you mostly identify with?
I don't know what I am sign-wise, but I wish I was fire, but I'm definitely a water guy. Like I'm a very emotional person. I'm the type, and like, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning watching like military soldiers returning home and like, you know, like, that's his sister at his wedding, oh God, you know, and, you know, my wife will just be like, what are you watching? And I'm like, you don't want to know, is it military video? He's like, it's a military video, you know, and so definitely a water guy. I'm a total sad.
Peter, you have worked on some of Pixar's like biggest and most beloved films. Cynthia rattled some off the top, but you also worked on Finding Nemo, Wall-E, and The Incredibles. These movies, I feel, have come to mean so much to not just kids, but to families, to parents, because they were entertaining for parents. And I always love finding out from filmmakers what those movies were for them. Like, were there movies when you were young that meant the world to you?
Yeah, boy. Yeah, thank you. Look, my mother loved the movies, and so anytime the shop made any money, she would take us to the movies, right? And she didn't speak English very well, so if they, you know, she loved Kevin Costner, so we saw like every Kevin Costner movie. And I remember like watching like Robin Hood, and she's like, "Mo yegesa," and I'm like, and I have to translate in Korean a lot of the time. To like, he really likes her, you know, whatever it is. And then, but there were these movies, like I remember seeing Dumbo with her, and I didn't have to translate anything. And I remember in this public library that we're at, that there's a scene where like the mother elephant is like put her arm, like trunk through a prison, and my mom was tearing up. And I remember like, I didn't have to translate anything, and I didn't know it at the time, but doing this work, that's the energy that I love, is something universal that could translate beyond just English or anything. And that's why I love drawing characters that don't have to be exactly, you can connect without having to think about all that. You can just feel the human experience kind of a thing, which this freaking elephant was making my mother cry. And like, I was like watching this and going like, what is that? But yeah,
that is such a beautiful idea, and obviously why animation is so popular and so critical to film. So thank you so much for your film, for being here. Everybody watching, Disney and Pixar's Elemental opens in theaters on June 16. Be sure to check it out.
Thanks for watching. We've got lots more discussion and debates on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. Don't forget to click like and subscribe.